In a recent interview with Johannes le Roux, founder of Brannas Draught, he told us that Brannas was sold to the owners of their biggest outlet, the Green in Benoni. About 7 years ago, Dax Menday, together with Dimitri Seretis, started the Green at the Benoni Country Club. The Green was the first true craft bar on the East Rand. Not only is Brannas a good seller at the Green, it is also a great fit for their live events business, the Green Live, which the partners started together with Ettiene Erasmus. The partners recently launched an online platform, Not Cuck, to deliver their latest product, Pinch Hard Seltzer, to customers on the East Rand. My name is Holger Meyer, and this is DrinksWorld. Welcome to the show, and today's guest is Dax Menday. Dax has been involved in the retail trade, selling craft beer at his restaurant since the early days of the craft beer revolution in South Africa, and I'm very excited to have him here today. Welcome to the show, Dex.
Thanks for having me, Holger. It's brilliant to be here, yeah.
So tell us a little bit how this thing started. You own the Green.
So the Green Craft Bar, basically I'm a Benoni boy, and we started seeing a whole lot of craft beer and tasting at different places, but the one big thing on the East Rand was there was no way to get craft beer basically at all. I mean, you could get a little bit of Jack Black in bottle stores here and there, but there wasn't really any place to go and experience it. So at the Benoni Country Club, which is our country club in Benoni, one of the biggest ones here, there was a beautiful rooftop that was empty, and myself and my partner Dimitri Seretis, we decided it would be a good idea to start a craft bar, which in a container. So we stuck a container at the top, stuck 12 taps in it, filled up fridges with about 80 different craft beers, and we were off to the races. We had enough craft beer to tide us over for a couple of years.
And so you operate under the country club and their licenses, or how does that work?
Yeah, 100%. So for all intents and purposes, we are part of the country club. It's
Okay.
yeah, the green is its own little world, but we run together with the country club, which works out quite nicely because so we were always wanted to just do exclusively craft beer. We didn't want to do any big brands or anything like that, and in the end it worked out quite nice because the country club's bar has always been a SAB sort of bar, and that was obviously that's just for golfers. And with us coming there, we said to the country club that we would bring in people that weren't golfers to the club to experience what the club had to offer in terms of its facilities and all that sort of thing. And I don't know, country clubs have always been quite sort of one of those places where you don't know if you can go there unless you're playing golf or whatever the case. You're like, oh, am I allowed in the country club? And what the Green did was it kind of opened the floodgates for people on the East Rand to come and experience the club, which worked nicely for the club and worked nicely for us. That we had a completely different offering. There was no crossover between us doing SAB and not, and we just purely focused on craft.
Okay, and that kind of keeps the two separate, and you don't fight about who's selling what.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Where does your passion for craft beer come from?
I've always loved beer. It's always been I'm probably I like enjoying beer, so I'm all about how nice it is to try different craft beers, the sort of the conversations that you can have around them and the whole experience. So I wouldn't call myself a craft beer sort of expert by any means. I can't brew. I would probably brew the worst craft beer on the face of the planet if I tried. But I surely am very good at testing them. So I love the aspect of all getting around the table. Everybody has different beers, and you're tasting them, and you're having a good conversation about them. That's what sort of brings me to the craft beer industry. Yeah.
And you've been going for 7 years now. Has it slowed down, or is it still going strong?
No, it's still going strong. I think so. The green Benoni is 7 years old. The green Mortefontein is 5 years old, and the green Glenvista is 4 years old. And all three stores are have always been craft focused. And no, we've seen good growth over the years that we've been open. I think unfortunately through COVID and the rest of it, the amount of breweries has definitely dwindled a little bit, and the supply of them. I mean, especially with the tap room and the whole buyout with Devil's Peak, that definitely hurt the supply of craft beer sort of far and wide a little bit. But then you have guys like Zwakala and those guys that have kept it going with a nice range, which is very good. So yeah, I think for us, it has grown quite a bit. There's always new guys popping up. It's always remained interesting. There was definitely a downturn though during COVID, which I can understand. It was tough during those times to keep a small brewery going.
Yeah. And how much of your sales are draft, or is it all draft, or do you also keep bottles?
Yeah, so basically we've got 12 taps in the bars,
Okay.
which some of them are solid taps where we don't change around a lot. Like at all the greens, I think you'll see Mad Giant is like one of our biggest sellers, and they've been on tap for as long as I can remember. As well as Brannas, which is obviously not a beer, but we can get onto that later. But yeah, and then what we've tried to do then in the fridges is keep between the stores, it ranges from between 40 and 80 different beers in the fridges. So most of our volume is definitely on tap, but then the bottles make it really interesting because you can then have a little try of different things.
Okay, but that makes it quite a good destination. That's a good number of different beers.
Yeah, for sure. I think now at the moment it has been cut down a little bit because of supply of the beers. It's always tough to do menus and then to say no, we're out of stock of this or out of stock of that. So it's probably down to about a range of about 40 beers at the moment, which is still pretty good. You know, it takes a while to get through 40 beers.
Yeah. And your background wasn't hospitality, but it seems like you've embraced it. You've also started live events. Yeah.
So I've always been quite a social person, so it suits me on the side of firstly with the bars, but then we sort of obviously with beer fests were a massive thing. As you know, like probably 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And we decided, okay, well, there's another area where the East Rand is sorely lacking. There's zero beer fest. So we started. It was first the Green Beer Fest, and now it's morphed into the Benoni Beer and Gin Fest. Obviously, with the amount of gins and having a little bit of something different. So, which has grown quite amazingly. Yeah, we sort of. When we had the last one in 2019, it was with Matthew Mole, and we had over 5,500 people at that fest, which was a huge success. So normally with those, we pick about 10 breweries, some quite well known, and then some smaller breweries, and we try to get guys like Untamed, which are Benoni Brewery. We try to bring guys like that in, like we'll have a Piwe come through from Tolakazi and that sort of thing, just to get people sort of known to those beers. But we don't try to have 100 different breweries. We want people to try everybody and then try all the varieties at the brewery. So yeah, it's turned into something really fun. I think people look forward to it every year. Well, we haven't been able to have it for 3 years, but we're looking forward to this year.
Okay, so it's on again this year.
Yeah, normally, so us and Capital Craft Beer Fest run about the same time. So we always a week or two before them. So we're the first week of June, on the 4th of June, and I think Capital Craft is a couple of weeks later on the 18th.
Yeah, I've been to the Capital Craft Festival, and for me that is certainly one of the highlights of the calendar.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, I mean, they are probably the biggest and the best. And then it's something like Clarence, and then we fit. We'd probably be top 5, I would say. Okay. After being to Cape Town and all of the rest of them, I think we'd definitely be in that top 5 range on Beer Fest, which is exciting. I mean, to do something in Benoni and have that kind of pull into the craft beer industry is good fun.
Yeah, and do you also support some of the imports, or is it just local?
It's mainly local, but
Okay.
we do have a really good relationship with Philip from Belge SA.
Yes.
So we normally always have Philip at the beer fest, which is it is really nice to have the Belgian beers on tap. It's just that a little bit something special, which is great.
Which you don't, and you wouldn't normally splash out on those beers. But yeah, I also really like Philip and his range of beers. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the natural thing is obviously to start your own brands. It looks like you've gone that route as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think for us, obviously, we've I can talk for my partner Dimitri here. He's very keen in the technicalities of brewing and actually doing something like that. But we kind of decided on the brewing side that we wouldn't get involved in beer specifically because of first of all, we've got such a great brewer in Evan from a Giant on our doorstep that to try and sort of compete with some of these guys is very difficult because of the quality that's coming out of these breweries. But and also in the end, it is quite a big investment to get something going that's going to have longevity. So we decided to keep on the drinks range, and through that we had a long negotiation with Johannes, who is now Duchess, who started Brannas, on taking over the Brannas brand, which we were able to do last year August, and that's been very fun. So that's one of them.
Okay,
Brannas Draught.
Yeah, that's exciting. I mean, we've had Johannes on the show, and obviously he was the one that introduced us to you. But yeah, that's a very exciting brand, and I'm glad that it's found a new home. Tell us a little bit about that journey of Brannas. You've had it on tap for a while, and it's worked in your area.
Yeah. It was sort of a surprise, as well as with all good things, I suppose. Is that the guys from Taproom, Liam and Dylan, came to us and they said, "Well, why don't you guys try this brandy and cola on tap?" And we kind of said to them, "You must be crazy. We're in Benoni. We're going to have fights all weekend. There's no way." And Liam said, "No, you've got to try it. The guy that started it, he's such a lacquer oak, and it's a very good product, and give it a whirl." So we did, and it went off like gangbusters right off the bat. It was we were doing at the Green Benoni, when we started out, we were doing about 500 liters a week. which was crazy, but it sort of fitted in really nicely in the sense that after you have and we support responsible drinking, all these people would have been Ubering home, is that after like 2 or 3 drafts, sometimes you want something a little bit sweeter, and that's exactly where Brannas sort of fitted in. It's that after a couple of beers drink, and then obviously we got quite a big following, a loyal following of Brannas drinkers at the Green. So yeah, we've had the product for a really long time since it started out, and we've always had a real soft spot for it. So when Johannes started to do really good things with Duchess, and a lot of the focus was on that side, we saw the Brannas as a brand was taking a little bit of a back seat, and we kind of thought, yes, we could really push on with this if we were able to take it over. And that's kind of, the negotiation was fairly long, couple of years, but in the end we did take it over from Johannes, and we've been going with that ever since.
Okay. And what are your plans with Brannas now? Is it now exclusively at your stores, or what are the plans?
No, so Brannas as a company is a completely separate company.
Okay.
The Green. So so it's now we are in the production and distribution game when it comes to with a craft product. It falls in an interesting space because it is only on tap. We would like to change that by canning it at a later stage. But it's only on tap, and even though it uses KWV 3-year-old, which is obviously very well known as a brandy product, which I think you need to use a quality brandy. The cola is built from the ground up. It's our own unique recipe. We're not trying to be brandy and Coke. We're trying to have our own distinct sort of flavor. So the way that I can explain it in my best sort of English brandy drinking terms is that it's kind of like brandy slush puppy. That's kind of what it is to me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, for me, that the branding is just. I love the name Brannas, and that you were able, or Johannes was able to, kind of take that slang word and create it into a brand. When I met Johannes, or when I heard about his brand, I tried to get the guys from Capital Craft to stock it at their festival. And I got the impression that they thought it would completely distract all the beer drinkers and just get everybody to drink Brannas, and so I got a bit of resistance there.
Well, look, we sort of and shout out to Johan and the guys from Capital Craft. We trying our best to try get her on tap at anything Capital Craft, but there definitely is a little bit of resistance to the brand, which is understandable. I think I had the same sort of resistance, but I think once they let us try, they'll find that Brannas drinkers are actually completely the opposite of your normal brandy and Coke drinker. They're very friendly people.
With your live events company, you also get involved with the guys from Capital Craft in some of the events.
Yeah, so it's sort of a little bit of a via through the grapevine kind of relationship, I suppose. We've always looked up to the guys from Capital Craft, and we've always like their bar was probably the original like pure craft bar. So when we met them when we were starting, I think we met them in our first year of starting the Green, because you kind of a small industry, you kind of get to know everybody. But we've always had a good friendship with them, which is very lekker. But yeah, through our partner in Brannas, Ettiene Erasmus. So it's a little bit different from the Green. It's the same two partners, myself, Dimitri Seretis, and Ettiene came on board. And Ettiene, he runs a event production company. And we started the live events with him in Benoni, and that's kind of morphed into the relationship with Brannas. And then apart from that, he's also got a partnership with the guys from Capital Craft in a festival called Millipop, which is in Lotte and Mpumalanga every year.
Love that name.
Yeah, it's the most brilliant festival. It was just this past weekend, and it was a hell of a lot of fun. It's the most beautiful festival I've ever been to.
And then you in the process of launching some more products. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we kind of jumped onto the whole hard seltzer craze fairly early, but we've been focused on the East Rand only. To be honest, with the hard seltzer, just in terms of and anybody that starts out with this sort of stuff will know that the investment in the new products is fairly hefty. So we decided let's get involved, but let's dip our toes in first and see how it grows from there. And, the product is called Pinch. Pinch as in it's got a pinch of flavor, a pinch of alcohol, and a pinch of carbs, which is basically what hard seltzer is all about. It's and anybody that doesn't know what the product is, it's in the end, it's lightly flavored lightly flavored alcoholic sparkling water.
Yeah,
I think there was one product called Spike that got into a lot of that got fairly bad press because of the name. So not Spiked,
not Spiked, no. Okay.
Yeah, but that's been fairly interesting. It's as a beer drinker, I thought to myself, Dimitri, my partner, he's very much he really likes the hard seltzer side because unfortunately the beer goes straight straight to his love handles. But so he really wanted to do the hard seltzer for that reason. And I always thought, no man, why would you want to drink alcoholic sparkling water? I mean, I don't see the point. But it has been quite surprising. There's something really nice about, like, when it's really hot it's got its place. When it's really hot on an afternoon and you have one of those, it is actually quite refreshing. It's like,
okay, and you then market that to the trade, to the bottle stores, or is it just similar outlets?
Yeah, specific bottle stores on the East Rand. So it's available at sort of 4 or 5 different bottle stores on the East Rand, and then online on our sort of online store, which is notcuck.co.za. Tongue in cheek, funny. It's we kind of thought, and it hasn't been launched for very long, but what we found was that a lot of the retailers on the East Rand are selling craft products at like really sort of inflated prices, like quite high. So people would drink, say their favorite Devil's Peak or whatever the case is sorry about the dogs, at the Green, and then when they wanted to go and buy it, they would just find that it's really expensive in the bottle store. So we started Not Cut just in the sense of putting specific products, not all the products, but putting a variety of products on the site that people could then order and have delivered to their homes at not crazy craft prices. Because I think, as everybody would find out, it's kind of I think retailers feel they can charge a super high premium on craft because, that's just kind of what the industry has done, which we feel, I mean, craft should be it for everybody. I mean, when the breweries are charging really good prices to the retailers, there's no reason for the retailers to double up on that pricing and sell it to a consumer. I mean, you should be able to get it for just over the price of a case of Castle Light or whatever the case is.
And the big question, has it worked, or was it just something that you tried during lockdown? Are you getting some traction?
Quite nicely.
Okay.
Yeah, it's worked quite nicely. We do have. It's not. I mean, I wouldn't say it's completely gangbusters, but it's worked nicely. We fulfill about between 20 and 30 orders a week, I'd say.
And that's all stuff that you're keeping in any case, so it's not something that you have to run on the side. It just fits nicely into your retail business. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. I think for us, a huge part of this whole thing, and what's been fun about especially the craft beer industry, is that it is there's a lot of sort of education and a lot of fun things to try out. So we've always kind of taken that on board. Like, a part of what the Green does is it's not only a bar where you get sit and drink. It's also a little bit of an educational trip. You know, you're figuring out different beer styles, and you want to try something different. And same with Not Cuck. So you're able to buy beers and not be charged. I mean, you don't want to buy a case for $700 and then maybe you don't like the beers and then you're stuck with that case. So it's kind of one of those things where you can try our beers at the Green and then you can order a case online for a good price, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tell us you've got 2 more outlets, and you say they are franchises. Who's your franchisee? Is it the Country Club or is it outsiders?
No, it's individuals. So we've always believed in owner-operated stores. It's just they run the best that way. And I think the country clubs have got enough on their plate to run another bar. So they are individuals that own them, and you can grab them at the different greens.
Okay. And I mean, I've seen the trend of outsourcing the country club, even the whole hospitality section. Do you think that's a trend that will continue?
Yeah, I think so. I think the clubs are all run on different sort of bases. So, like for example, the Benoni Country Club has got a kind of like a CEO, so like somebody that takes up the reins and is paid a salary to run the club, and the committee they sit in with board meetings, and they just make sure that the running of the club is going along correctly. But the CEO has got the say in what happens at the club, and he's able to put a management team in place and the rest of it. So like that is a model that Benoni Country Club has run really well, and within that model they've been able to bring, say, the green on board, which is a completely different thing, so not their catering. And then they've also just put another Italian restaurant in, which is also individually owned. So they're able to do something like that. And then, other clubs are committee-run clubs, so which is, I would say, a less effective way of running the club. But I think a lot of the committee-run clubs would have that outsourcing happening, because you obviously, the committee is made up of people in private practice and lawyers and accountants and plumbers and whatever the case is. So a lot of the time those guys don't have any experience in the catering industry, and you can bring on a good catering manager, but in the end you need to be able to understand exactly how that works. So I think it becomes attractive for those clubs then to bring on an outside caterer just to run that for them, and then they don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'd say, you would. I think you'll see that at a lot of different clubs, but I think for the most part, I would say what I've seen work the best is a kind of a normal structure in a club where you have a CEO and they run the club. Yeah, it's an interesting business. It is. There's a lot going on at these clubs with memberships and how the club runs. There's loads of intricate in and outs with them.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that there's enough feet, or that you bring in enough feet that it becomes a viable business on top of an existing business.
Yeah, 100%. I think that was for us that the club and all the clubs that have opened a green, their main worry was, why would we have a bar here that competes with our bar? That doesn't sound like it's going to work, you know. So the initial sort of the initial conversation with Benoni Country Club, and we were lucky they were so open-minded about it, was we said, look, we aren't here for your members, right? So you have your members bar, and that's we won't make we don't feel like we'll make any sort of impact on that bar. We're actually going to bring more feet to the club. So by having the green craft bar here, it creates a bit of excitement. The younger people will join the club, thereby you will have more people in your members bar. And then also, look, in the end, if somebody really wants a Castle Light Draft and they do not want to try any other thing, we have no issue with them getting a Castle Light Draft from next door, you know. So it is one of those little bit of a working relationship that we have with the clubs. Yeah.
Okay, and where can people find out more about you? Have you got a website?
So the green.co.za is our website for the bars, and then greenlive.co.za is the website for the live events, and then brannas.co.za is obviously Brannas's website.
Okay.
And then all the notcuck.co.za is obviously just the little bit of a retail facing, and then there's a little bit more information on Pinch on there.
Okay.
But then, as you know, like social media is a great one. So Facebook has got all of those different the bars as well as the products on Facebook. Yeah.
Dex, thanks for taking the time to share your story with us, and especially after that big festival. It's certainly exciting, and I look forward to hearing more about what you achieve with Brannas and Pinch, and hopefully we see a few more outlets of the green soon.
Yeah, thank you very much, Holger. Yeah, thank you for doing what you do as well, and bringing a little bit of insight and light to the industry. It's an exciting industry, and I think it needs more people interested and engaged with it. I mean, it is very fun to be involved with. So thank you as well.
Thank you for listening to our stories here online. In the show notes, you will also find a link where you can subscribe to become part of our community and be notified when we upload our latest content.